A very warm welcome to you wherever you are watching us from. This is Dalsan TV English News, Somalia's #1 TV station. My name is Abdulrazak Ali. We have a lot lined up for you, but first, let's have a look at some of our stories that we have prepared for you. Russia waives 684 million in debt for Somalia in major step to end debt burden. Kenya to train 1,000 Somali teachers. Delegation of elders arrive in Beledweyne to mediate political conflict. And 60 Al-Shabaab fighters killed in Bay region. Welcome back to this edition of Dalsan TV English News. Now, in a significant gesture of support, Russia has waived 684 million in debt owed by the Somali government, a move that will bring some relief to the country's debt burden.
In a significant gesture of support, Russia has waived $684 million in debt owed by the Somali government, a move that will bring some relief to the country's debt burden. The agreement was signed on Wednesday in St. Petersburg between Finance Minister Bihi Iman Iga and Russia's Deputy Minister of Finance Timur Igorovich Maximovich, in the presence of Deputy Prime Minister Salah Ahmed Jama'. The deal comes as the Russia-Africa Summit opens in St. Petersburg, highlighting the growing interest of Russian businesses in Africa. The debt waiver is expected to provide a boost to Somalia's economy, which has been struggling to recover from decades of conflict and instability. This move by Russia follows similar debt forgiveness initiatives by other countries and international organizations. Norway announced debt forgiveness of $1.8 million in January 2020, while the African Development Bank cleared $122 million in arrears following contributions by the UK and the EU in March of the same year. In April 2020, the Paris Club creditors agreed to immediately cancel $1.4 billion owed by Somalia, which amounted to 67% of the debts owed to Paris Club creditors by Somalia. The United States also pledged to cancel $1 billion in debt by the end of 2024, when Somalia is expected to reach the completion point under the Heavily Indebted Poor Countries Initiative. The HIPC initiative is a joint initiative of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank that aims to reduce the debt burden of eligible countries to sustainable levels. The debt burden has been a major obstacle to Somalia's economic growth, with debt servicing costs consuming a significant portion of the country's budget. The debt forgiveness initiatives are expected to help Somalia redirect resources towards development programs and poverty reduction. The debt waiver by Russia is a significant step towards ending Somalia's debt burden and restoring its economic stability. The move is also expected to strengthen the ties between Russia and Somalia and contribute to the growing cooperation between Russia and African countries.
Meanwhile, in the neighboring country, Kenya, it has announced that it will train 1,000 Somali teachers after a meeting between the Kenyan president and the Prime Minister of the federal government of Somalia in Tanzania's Dar es Salaam city. Kenya has announced that it will train 1,000 Somali teachers who will teach different levels of education in the country as a way of promoting education. The announcement was made by Kenyan President William Ruto during a meeting with Somali Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Barre at the African Heads of the State Summit on Human Capital in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. The move is expected to have a positive impact on the education sector in Somalia, which has been struggling due to years of conflict and instability. The training of teachers is a crucial step towards improving education standards in the country, as it will equip them with necessary skills and knowledge to teach different levels of education. During the meeting, the two leaders also reiterated their commitment to the fight against Al-Shabaab militants, stating that they will not relent until the threat posed by the militant is eliminated. The leaders noted that the Al-Shabaab militants have had a negative impact on efforts to reopen the border between the two neighboring nations, which is crucial for the flow of goods and services. Kenya and Somalia have had a tense relationship in the past due to the border disputes and presence of Al-Shabaab militants who have been carrying out attacks on both sides of the border. However, the two leaders agreed to work on strengthening bilateral relations between the two nations and enhancing cooperation not only in the security sector but also in trade and the transport sector. The Prime Minister also discussed with President Ruto the facilitation of visas which was agreed to be completed through meetings scheduled between both parties. This is expected to ease the movement of people between the two countries and promote trade and investment. The training of Somali teachers by Kenya is a significant step towards promoting education in Somalia, which has been struggling to rebuild its education sector after years of conflict and instability. The move is expected to strengthen the ties between the two countries and contribute to the growing cooperation between Kenya and Somalia. Now, a delegation led by the head of the traditional elders of the Hawadle community, Ugas Yusuf Ugas Hassan Ugas Khalif, arrived in Beledweyne on Wednesday amid an ongoing political conflict in the region. A delegation led by head of the traditional elders of the Hawadle community, Ugas Yusuf Ugas Hassan Ugas Khalif, arrived in Beledweyne on Wednesday amid ongoing political conflict over the removal of Hiran Region Governor Ali Jaite Osman. The delegation of elders was received by officials, politicians, and other community members at Ugas Khalifa Airport in Beledweyne. Ugas Yusuf Ugas Hassan, speaking briefly to the people, said he would be in Beledweyne in the coming days to resolve disputes and lead mediation efforts. The arrival of the head of the elders of the Hawadle community in Beledweyne comes amid an ongoing political situation in the area. Abdullahi Ahmed Maalin Sufuro was appointed as the new governor. However, Governor Sufuro has not officially assumed office as Jaite refuses to step down, and local administrators have reportedly elected him as the interim president of Hiran state, an administration not recognized by the federal government. The situation has led to the tensions and clashes between different factions in the area. The arrival of the delegation of elders from the Hawadle community is seen as a positive step towards finding a peaceful resolution to the conflict. Ugas Khalif is a highly respected figure within the Hawadle community, and his involvement in the mediation effort is seen as a positive move towards finding a solution to the recent impasse. The Hawadle, a sub-clan of the larger Hawiye clan, has a significant influence in the region, and their involvement in the mediation efforts is seen as crucial to finding a peaceful resolution to the conflict. Elsewhere, the Somali government troops have killed at least 60 Al-Shabaab fighters, that is according to an official who spoke to the Somali National News Agency.
Somali government troops backed by local forces have killed at least 60 Al-Shabaab fighters following a security operations in southwestern Somalia, the information ministry confirmed Wednesday. Somali's military backed by troops from African Union has been fighting Al-Shabaab, an Al-Qaeda-affiliated group, for the past decade. The allied force succeeded to recapture many towns, including the capital, from Al-Shabaab after daily clash in many parts of the country. In a statement, the Information Ministry of Southwest State said the operation, which was collaboration between the Somali National Army and the local forces, was aimed at rooting out Al-Shabaab militants and restoring peace and security to the region. The development comes amid the Somali's government says it plans to launch a second offensive against Al-Shabaab with the support of neighboring countries such as Kenya, Djibouti, and Ethiopia. Despite the loss in large territories and military offenses against its fighters, Al-Shabaab is still carrying deadly attacks against the Somali government and its armed forces. Last Monday, close to 30 soldiers were killed and over 70 others wounded after men wearing an eyed face blow at the Jalisiad Academy. The attack was claimed by Al-Shabaab, saying its fighters carried out an assault. Al-Shabaab currently controls some areas in South and Central Somalia.
Now that brings us to the end of our bulletin today. My name is Abdulrazak Ali. Have a lovely evening.